Shape of You. It's Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. All right, I'm just laughing because this is my third take. Having a tough time nailing down this one. I'm loving it. So, law of compensation, right? Good stuff. Oh, by the way, Ed Sheeran, by doing good deeds, this will come into play. I bought a CD. I like having physical music too. It's instead of the downloading the digital thing. What happens if electricity goes out? Well, I still can't play it, obviously. Anyway, internet could go down. That's about the only thing. Anywho, what we send out is obviously what comes back to us, but we don't really speak about this a lot. And obviously the name of this video, Law of Compensation, brings about the concept of money. And it's not just money, but certainly that applies for sure. And it's not just what we're paid back, right? It's not just what's given to us, but it's also what we're sending out. And I think there's kind of a more of an old school word for it, if you will, at least back in my day. And like I said, I've said in other videos, and I don't want to necessarily requote it, but there's things that I did that affected this, hopefully, for the whole planet. At least that was the intention behind it. But a lot of us now, because of a lot of these things and where we're at in a spiritual sense, karma is kind of more of an instant thing, right? So really what you're doing, what you're sending out is almost immediately coming back. Not immediately in the sense of right this second, but more in the sense of, we've talked about the ripples, right? So it's that blink in the pond and the ripples go out. And if they bounce off something, then some of them come back directly, and some of them bounce off something and then bounce off another rock and then actually finally now come back to you. So you get that second wave, right? So there's different ways that the energy comes back to you. But we ourselves, law of compensation is what this is specifically talking about. Law of compensation is you being the stone. Blink. That is the law of compensation. Everything that happens in that moment, from that blink on, is the law of compensation. What you are doing, saying, putting out, giving to other people is the rock creating the ripples. Sometimes they're what, 4 or 5, I don't know. Science has a thing with them. There's a number of them, at least 4 of them are pretty severe. I think that's how tidal waves work. Anyway, so these ripples go out, like I said, depending on what they reflect off, depending if they hit someone else's ripples, and maybe they get bigger, maybe they get smaller, maybe they wash out. A lot of these things, it depends. It's energetics, it's vibrations, right? That's what, like, you ever seen a sonoscope or whatever they call it, where like the, or even radio things where the little voodoos go up and down, you get all these little lights flashing up and down, right, for the different types of frequencies, and they're spiking up. This, of course, comes from a guy that's looking at green lights right now, because I don't go into the red. I don't clip. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm serious about what I do. No. All right. So my point is, what we put out, blink, is the important part of this entire thing. And a lot of us really need to kind of stop and think for a second. One, when we're angry with other people, that's a blink. No, that's not very good. That's not a good blink, right? That's not a good. What we're feeding energetically when we have our thoughts, when we're helping other people. Now, I want to get into something kind of more in a positive, like an easy way to make things better, but also I'll show the darker side. But again, how can we affect the blink a lot more often? How can we make that difference? How can we get our ripple to come back and benefit us? How can we get our ripple to help us accomplish what it is that we're looking for? And if you're looking to try to manifest something of any kind, but especially a person, it really helps, because people are very sensitive to these ripples that we're talking about. But anything, you're trying to manifest anything, it almost always will involve people. And the people are the parts that need to kind of be like, either A, just doing their thing and you somehow end up in front of them and they treat you well because you're great to them, or B, they happen to be the person that's got whatever it is that you need. And by establishing a higher self connection first, you allow yourself a better scenario for whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, right? Maybe it can happen with some sort of perk, some sort of, just a good scenario, right? A lot of us can try to manifest these things. So what we're putting out there, how do we improve that? What are ways we can maybe help get our specific person, for example? One way, believe it or not, and this is going to sound weird, law of compensation. Remember, 12 spiritual laws. I'm kind of getting on these right now because it's been really fun sort of studying these in a whole, in a group, and realizing, okay, this is all in the big picture making more sense to me now. So how can we make a difference? How can we do this? Well, every time you have the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, and that, I mean, like when you go to the coffee shop and you're ordering, that's an interaction. You can be a grumpy Gus, or you can be like a nice person. You know, I mean, you can also, if you really want to, you're going for money. Sometimes it's a great thing to do is do a pay it forward thing. If you really want to start some good monetary karma for yourself, do a pay it forward. So you just bought your coffee and you're standing in line, and all of a sudden you're looking at the person and you're going, hey, what are you planning on getting? I'm going to buy yours. I'm going to do a pay it forward. And you instantly buy the person behind you's drink, no matter what. Maybe it's a $6 drink, whatever. It sucks. It's just what you do. And you're doing it because you're telling the universe, look, I am abundant. I have all sorts of money. So what I'm doing is I'm going to buy this person something because I want to be cool to them. I think it'd be cool. Like if you're the person that's like, oh my God, you just bought my drink. Like, wow, okay, yeah, I'll totally buy the person's drink behind me. Like, that's really cool. So you start a chain, a ripple, blink, that is awesome. Don't think for 1 second that ripple does not come back to you. Yes, it does. That's absolutely what happens. Everything we send out is coming back to us. Everything we send out comes back to us. Everything. Some of it's reflected back quickly. Some of it's reflected back in a second phase. Some of it's in a third phase. Some of it's a fourth phase. And really, when you're constantly interacting with people, you've constantly got phases hitting you. So if you want to make a difference, if you want to try to help, well, being cool to people most of the time makes a huge difference, because all these people are just trying to live their own lives, right? Like if you're grumpy and you yell at somebody that's just doing their job and you're mad at them because the price is too high, well, it's not that, unless they are the vendor, but I'm sorry. But normally speaking, they're just like the cashier, right? Like it's not their fault. It's not their fault that the prices are sucky. Of course, I know it sucks. I think it's ridiculous. I wouldn't pay that much, frankly. I don't know why you're here. You must be rich, right? I mean, whatever the case is, when you're that person getting yelled at, you're like, I don't understand why you're mad at me. I didn't do this. So what are we doing when we're doing our ripple? What are we doing? What are we putting out there? Are we helping? I still think of and it's not like, I guess I get occasional opportunities to be nice, and I professionally kind of do it, sort of. But the time I got to walk by and I saw an elderly lady that was on the height-challenged side of life, yes, I was trying to reach up for something that she had and she was elderly. There's no way she was going to be like Michael Jordan-ing that, or, leaping. Yeah, like some sort of high jumper, like that wasn't going to happen. So I honestly, when life presents me the opportunity to help the old lady across the street or whatever it is, to do some sort of really awesome good in a situation that's just truly wonderful and done because you care, because you realize it's a fellow human being and it's just awesome to help them. And I grabbed that thing and I handed it to her. Well, I first made her kind of reach for it, right? I'm like, come on, you can, no. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. That'd be mean. That'd be mean, right? I didn't do that. No, I got it and handed it to her. But it felt really cool knowing she's like, thank you. And I'm like, oh, it's all right. It was cool. I saw that you were struggling, and I'm fortunately not a midget like you. So, and I didn't say that either. Again, it's just an opportunity to make a blink that actually makes a difference, that actually helps. So say you're interacting with your SP and you find that you frequently get grumpy. And I'm sure if we actually look at it for a moment, I'm sure it's their fault. I'm sure it's their fault. Of course it's their fault. But the problem is your blunk sucks and it's not helping you. So let's try to find a way to be happy and do happy things. And who knows, you'll be surprised how that relationship can get improved by helping old lady across the street over here. That over there can get better by doing this over here better. Law of compensation. That is also what it's talking about. What we send out comes back to us. If what you're doing is something that should bring income back to you, or technically it's a use of your time and you're doing something very gracious or whatever, right? Then yes, oftentimes the universe will come back. Now there are, obviously don't be taken advantage of. There's going to be challenges and tests. That's another one of the laws, ironically. So what we're putting out is definitely what's coming back. That's where the law of compensation truly comes into play. And that is how the reward comes back to us. If you're looking for more money, if you're looking for a better relationship, if you're looking for a new job, if you're looking for whatever, by doing blinks that make a difference in the world, that make a difference with you and make a difference with someone that maybe you see every day. Maybe it's the person at the coffee shop and every day you get a coffee and every day you get a chance to put a smile on that person's face or maybe have a little interaction and it's special. It's good for both of you. And maybe I favor coffee shops because I happen to work at one on Sundays. It could. I don't know if that's really why. I'm sure it is. So yeah, don't listen to Dan. Hey, so we're going to be doing, and by the way, this was, I thought, a really important point, and I'm not going to advertise this anywhere, but for those of you that have made it this far in the video, to me, this is one of the aspects of how us pushed out happens. What we're blinking is essentially what we're getting back. It's what we're, in reflection, there's a perception aspect. I talked about that, but again, that's part of that us pushed out. It's what we're sending out, believe it or not, will manifest itself in ways that are interesting and will come back to us and can look very personal. And that's just how the universe is. Again, we're attracting this. This was your ripple. You sent it out. You got your ripple back. These things happening to you are your ripple. That's why we always talk about it's the action that happens before that matters. It's not, oh, the good thing happened, so I feel good. Well, the good thing actually happened because you blinked good. And the fact that you're happy about it's cool because that's going to help you blink good. But the second something bad happens, you're going to blink bad and then start sucking. And then you're going to be like, why is everything so horrible? Blink again. It's getting worse. Blink. It's what? And then eventually you're going, oh, I get it. I'm stuck in this weird cycle. Blink. And things get better again. It's what we push out. It's us. Blink. Pushed out. We are our own reality. We attract what comes back to us. We have way more to do with our experience than most of you probably realize. It's probably significantly more. In fact, I think it's mostly. And some people can debate, and there's certain situations, and there's caveats. I will throw that in there, all right? So there are caveats, and I think there's more to this. It's a simplified, dumbed-down version of something that I'm trying to do in less than 15 minutes, I hope. So that being said, this is my third time to record it, and I'm like, was it 19 minutes now? So I have no idea how much time I was doing earlier. Anyway, I'm going to try to cut it out, but I think this is us pushing out a great song by a band, Walk Off the Earth. Very talented bunch of musicians. Don't know if you guys have checked it out. I don't have their CD handy. I've got 2 of them, mind you. But Walk Off the Earth, very cool and very talented. This particular song's called I'll Be Waiting. It's got that kind of love theme going with it. And on top of that, again, I'm trying to blink in a good way. These are bands that mean a lot to me. Again, buying music for a band. That's the same thing. There's a place I go to that's been like helping our cars for my family for years. I could go to other places, maybe cheaper, maybe. I don't know. They know us so well. But it's like a love thing. It's like, this is what I'm sending out. I want to help these guys. They're like family. I've known them forever, right? Again, sometimes it's more important to do a good thing than it is to do, I don't know, something that's maybe not as good. So it cost me an extra $20. Bah, it's worth the $20 for sure. For sure. Because my blink is better. All right, we're finally going to go out. You guys are done with me. Dan, RadioStyle on Walk Off the Earth. I'll be waiting. I already said the